Hello, 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 everyone out there. Hopefully, everyone's staying safe. And we're almost through this nightmarish COVID thing. I think probably a few more months,
Really?
3, 4 more months.
Are
I
we?
think.
Are we?
Well,
Are we almost soon?
let's hope.
That's the
I've got a
first
lot of friends who.
optimistic
No,
thing
I
I've
got a lot
heard.
of friends who've already gotten their first shot. So
Okay.
we will see. Before we get to our guest, let me introduce tarokoki,
Hello.
the man behind GT Channel who makes all this happen, and also our British ringer, James McKeone of No Braking Podcast fame. And today's special guest is a guy I've known for a long, long, long time. Former IndyCar driver, Roger Yasukawa. Hello, Roger. How are you?
Hey Sam, very good. Thanks for having me on your show, this Podspeed. I'm looking forward to chatting with you and everybody else, trying to catch up with everything.
Good.
Welcome, welcome.
Let me start from the beginning with Roger. So Roger is a Japanese American who was pretty much raised in Italy because he was doing a lot of go-karting there. That's where he learned his skills to become a race driver. And then once he came to the States, he made it to the big time, IndyCar. Roger, can you tell me what before IndyCar, were you in Indy Lights or the Toyota Atlantic series?
Yes, I went through the, well, at the time was the kart ladder system. So I ran the Formula Atlantic series. I actually went to Skip Barber Racing School and did their school series in
Where,
Onto Barber
where,
Lodge.
where was Skip Barber at that time?
At the time, they had a base at Laguna Seca for the West Coast Series, and obviously, they were relatively nationwide. So you had that opportunity, obviously, to go to other series like in Florida or Midwest to Road America, things like that. But in my case, I basically ran their West Coast Series, which was primarily racing at Laguna Seca.
Okay, and you did pretty good because you stepped up to IndyCar. What year was it? Your first year in IndyCar?
First year was actually 2003. It was quite an interesting year because a lot of the team that was running in Champ Car Series actually made the shift towards the Indy Racing League, which was called at the time.
IRL. Yeah, that's right.
IRL,
That was
exactly.
horrible. Civil War. That was horrible. Wait, Roger, so were you in Champ car or were you in
No.
IRL?
So I was in IRL.
IRL.
I would say that at the time, basically Honda and Toyota both made an announcement that they were going to be racing in IRL full time starting 2003. And then during 2002, I was very fortunate to actually win a race at Milwaukee Mile, which is an oval.
Yeah.
During that weekend, Honda made an announcement that they were going to make that shift. So naturally, they were looking for a driver that could basically speak Japanese and look Japanese.
Okay, yeah, there's two.
It also
two
run
down,
on ovals, exactly.
two
So,
conditions cleared.
yeah, so I think those two conditions allow me to have an opportunity to race with a team at the time called Super Agri Fernandez Racing, which
Mhm.
was basically a team that was formed in partnership with Adrian Fernandez, together with Guri Suzuki, who's obviously the former Formula One driver from Japan.
Right.
So,
First, yeah, I think it was the first Japanese to get on the podium,
yes,
in
exactly.
Formula One. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Mhm.
Wow. So that was 2003, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Somehow it's
now,
been almost 20 years.
were you happy with the IRL? Because the IRL, the big thing they had was they had the Indy 500. Champ Car did not, right?
Correct. So, it was my dream to race at Indy 500. So I had really no doubts. Of course, I grew up as a road racer. So I've wanted to do other races like Long Beach, et cetera, et cetera. But, given the situation, I think it was a great opportunity for myself.
Mhm.
I think I realized over time that my driving style was actually better on ovals. And I think, again, I had no regrets or no doubts, jumping into the IRL series at the time. And, over time, obviously, the two series ended up merging. And, I think now we have a very strong competitive series. So I think it's just, during those times that you really, didn't have a lot of choice. But I think, again, being part of the Indianapolis 500 was a huge thing for me. So I'm obviously glad and very proud to be part of the series, I guess.
Roger, when you were when you were honing your skills, like in Italy, through with the go-karts and stuff, those are probably mostly, or I bet you all of them will run on road circuits, right? Road courses. How did you make the jump from road, and how difficult is that? And how different are the two?
Yeah, why do
Yeah,
you think?
so-
Why do you think oval was your thing?
Yeah, and why
Yeah.
why were you better at it?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing again, driving, growing up as a kid, racing in karts, you basically learn all the natural vehicle, dynamics, how to control the car, et cetera, and obviously setting up the car as you need to suit your driving style. So coming from karting, moving to like the junior Formula Series, you learn all those little details, and more importantly, race tactics. However, when you make those moves to oval, I think the biggest challenge is really understanding, the race tactics and strategy, being patient, how to relay what you want as a setup, the changes you want to make to the car, to your engineer. I think those are, a lot different than, what you've learn from road course. Let's say, for example, when you go to ovals, you have totally different spring and damper packages in each corner, so it's almost impossible to memorize what you had over times. You go to road course, it's quite simple because of course maybe your spring package is different front and rear, but they're usually same as far as the left side and right side. Again, you go to the ovals and, typically, I mean, obviously your right side is always going to be stiffer, the wing angles, everything is so, you have so much variables to deal with that, you kind of need that relationship with the engineer. And, I think that's the first thing that's difficult. And when you race on short ovals, super speedway like Indianapolis, places like Michigan or Fontana, it's all about understanding how to race with each other. I spent, I only had limited experience on ovals before going into IRL. At the time, a lot of the guys were coming from road course. So, I think they've defined the rule nowadays that I think is more clear. But back in the days, people would just basically try to block to defend your position. But when it comes to ovals, you're basically just, when you do that, you're just creating enemies. Like, what comes around goes around. So, it's trying to learn with other drivers. You got to be extra careful with some, if some are actually good racers and you work with them, let's say even if you have an opportunity, you had a good run, sometimes you don't want to make that pass because you want to wait until the end. So I think, those kind of strategy and understanding where their air pocket is so you don't get into trouble, et cetera, those are the details that requires experience. And, and again, I think I was very fortunate to be able to run the full season in 2003 to learn those skill sets. And, it obviously allowed me to carry a longer career in the IndyCar series, to be racing, another full season in 2005, and then doing quite a bit of one-offs at either the 500 or Motegi in Japan.
Yeah, Roger, I think you had what, 10? How many total starts at Indianapolis 500? Do you have 10 or so?
Indy, no, I had 5 starts actually.
Oh, five Indy 500 starts,
Yes.
Which is very impressive. Oh, but you did have a top 10, right? Finish.
Yes, so I finished 10th both in 2003, which was my rookie season, and then 2004 was another 10th place finish. But unfortunately, that race was cut short due to the rain, and I had a strategy that was actually going to go until the end. So it didn't quite work out for me.
So you had it. You were saving. You were saving something for the end.
Yeah. So, but we had, I was running for Team Rahal at the time, and we had 3 cars. All 3 cars finished in top 10, and obviously, the team took the gamble to take different strategies. So, again, it is what it is. But I think we definitely had a winning car. The car was quite fast throughout the month. So, but it was great to be part of a winning team.
Did you, when your rookie season, you said you had a top 10 at the Indy 500. I would have thought you would like show up and just go, I don't know what I'm doing here. I mean, this is like I don't have that much experience in ovals, and you kind of do need buddies, right? Like you were kind of saying, you need people you draft with, people you kind of team up with. I mean, does that kind of go around?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, Indy is a special place. I mean, every time, I still go there. When you walk through or you go under the bridge or tunnel, you still get the goosebump. The place is incredible because not only because of the size and speed, but, when you look at it from TV, it looks quite wide, during the race.
Yeah.
During the race, you see 4 wide, 5 wide sometimes. But then when you're actually driving, it's actually really, really narrow. So, I remember my first day doing my rookie test, and rookie test is actually the hardest part of the whole procedure, because they limit you within certain speed range for 4 phases. So, for example, phase 1, you got to do like 10 laps consecutively between the speed of 195 to 200. And then phase 2, somewhere in between 200 and 205. And then, ultimately you got to do like consistent laps above 210 or 215. The car is really set up to run flat out. So to run slow is actually harder. It makes you uncomfortable because you're lifting before the corner and the car, doesn't have the downforce that you want. So I remember the first day going through the rookie test, and I'm like, man, there's no way I could go flat around here. I mean,
yeah,
it's
so
pretty
narrow.
Intimidating. Yeah. So
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, like you said, yes, during the race, you really need to have a drafting partner that you want to work with. The good thing about Indy is you get a lot of track time. If it doesn't rain, obviously during May. But during those track time, you're working on either qualifying setup or race setup. And when you're doing the race setup, you basically, you try to gather up with other drivers, and then, try to find who's going to be your best drafting partner during the race. So that's, part of the let's say learning curve you have to.
Yeah, wait, now the drafting partner thing has always kind of intrigued me, because what do you do? Do you go up to a guy, like a racer, like let's say it's Marco or whoever, but in your case it would have been Michael. Hey, Michael, man, you want to team up? I mean, how do you decide who's gonna be your buddy? And what if they go, screw you, man, I don't want to, I mean, or do they come, or what if they come to you and you don't really want to be their drafting buddy? I mean, or does that all happen during the race? I mean, where you find out, okay, I can work with this guy without, really talking to him. Or how does that happen? How do you get drafting buddies?
Yeah, so usually, if you're with a team that has multiple cars, obviously your first option is going to be your teammates.
So Penske, you're going to have a lot of buddies.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
Exactly. And typically those teams, those mega teams will basically try to time everybody to go out at the same time. So, they're doing sort of like, actual race sim runs with 3 or 4 cars.
Oh, okay.
In my case, during the first year, I was just a 1-car team operation. Right. So I didn't have any friends. I was obviously, the new kid in the block. So I had to find somebody who would, be willing to work with. So, time to time, the team managers or engineers will talk with other teams that they know or they've been through. So they'll try to, pre-arrange something. But yeah, I mean, you kind of have to build that relationship with other drivers, figure out who you're going to be able to work with and who's not willing to. Sometimes, again, if you're new to it, what I tell other drivers when I'm coaching is basically, let the other, just sort of be the guinea pig, and then lead the cars for 2 or 3 laps. So they basically, can get your air. And then, once you lead 2 or 3 laps, then, try to shuffle back and then, make it look like it's your turn now. And that's sort of the way to figure out who's willing to work and who's not, because, when you do that, and then, I've been through many times that, okay, I let the guy for a couple laps, and I try to go behind him and he pits right away. And you're like, okay, he's not the guy he's willing to work with.
Wow. That's like buying a girl a drink and she just like walks away from you.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow. So it is. Wow, that's interesting. So who are your, Roger, if you could say this, I think you can now because it's been so long now, is who are your best drafting partner or your drafting buddies that you remember fondly, especially at the Indy 500 and not every race, but
For the
like your first one,
500,
your first one, you came in 10th. You came in, I think you came in 8th or 10th? 10th, right? Top 10. That was a great finish. Were you rookie of the year that year, or was there a rookie who did better
No,
than
actually,
He was in the running.
Oh, yeah,
he was in the running, but I think it was Toru Takagi who won the Rookie of the Year perhaps that year.
Oh, another Japanese guy.
Driver, right.
Okay. So, anyways, who was who did you work with on that first Indy?
So I think first Indy, I would say, I mean, immediately I thought I had, good, how do you say, I mean, not relationship, but obviously, sort of a good vibe, being able to work together was, I would say maybe Kenny Brack, who was racing for Rahal at the time. I think part of that was he was also a one-car operation at Rahal, so he was always looking for somebody. So I thought it was obviously very fair. Buddy Rice, who basically became my teammate in 2004 and who won the 500. I've actually grew up with him through karting days. So I knew him since he was, we were like 12 years old. So, I think that sort of kind of came naturally. I'm not going to say anybody negative.
I wanted to ask that. I wanted to ask that, but okay. Roger, you're too nice of a guy, so I knew you would answer. I know you kind of, you and Danica were like in part of the junior series or, together before making it big time too, right?
Yeah, so she's a little bit younger than me. So I think, she actually came on board in 2005 with Team Rahal. Actually, I think she took over my car that I ran in 2004. And I knew that was a good car. So,
I think she did good that year too, right?
Yeah. So, again, yes, there were some time that I raced up with Danica, but I don't think I've raced with her until when we got to IndyCar series. So that would be 2005. Before that, she would be always maybe category below, coming up through the ranks. So, but I think what she did for the sports is obviously fantastic. I mean, there's almost, a female driver in any series these days. So, if it wasn't for her, I don't think, it would have been much harder for a lot of the drivers, female drivers to get in right now. So
definitely one of the pioneers. So Roger, out of all your Indies, which one to you was your most memorable? I'm sure they all are, but which one did you really enjoy and just said, hey, I ran a good race. And you could also pick the one that was cut short because I mean you kind of had the strategy all laid out, right?
Yeah, so, for sure 2004 is the most memorable, not only because I remember during the pole day, qualifying day, we had a really strong car. And then, during the warm up before qualifying, we were P2. I knew I had a good shot at taking the pole and I was the first car to go out. Unfortunately, the track was still green at the time, meaning a little slippery. So we didn't get our speed as we expected. And I think I qualified P11 or P12. I still regret to this day that I should have asked Bobby that, hey, I want to qualify again because, we could have pulled our speed or time and then, went for the pole. But there was a lot of variables where, I didn't want to risk shunting the car and then, damaging the car for the race. But obviously, there's budget related issues as well. So, with that in mind, we kind of played it safe and not, requalify. And, started P11, 12, which wasn't bad.
It's not bad, but it's not pole.
Exactly. So, again, it's the most memorable because I know the car was good. We actually, we had 2 flat tires during the race, so we had to make up a lap twice, and then we still made our way back to P10. So again, for sure, I know that the car was fast. We could have won, maybe, possibly, but it's always would have, could have. So it's the one race that's most memorable, exactly. But it's also the one that I regret the most. You know, I think the one that I enjoyed the most is maybe 2006. I was during that month I didn't have a seat. I was looking for a ride, and you know, you don't know what could happen. So I just went to Indianapolis during month of May, start walking around the garage, talking to different teams, and you know, I didn't have any sponsorship money. So, you know, there was.
So your chances of getting a seat was pretty much close to zero, right?
Zero. Yeah. I mean, I was just hoping something would happen.
So you just showed up, just go, I'm going to show up and just walk around and you never know, right?
Exactly.
Oh, that's crazy.
You got to keep knocking on the door.
So where do you go? You don't go to the bars like, you know, like aspiring actors and those guys do. Do you just go to the garages and they let you get a pass and you just walk around?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I already had my, I already applied for my driving credential, let's say. So, you know, I was entitled to go into the garage. Obviously, during the time, there was no COVID restriction, etc. Just walk into the garage and talk to the team owners. And one of the team actually asked me to spot for a driver, and I've actually never spotted, you know, but I was like, okay, well, I'm here, maybe I'll just pick up
which driver do you remember?
So it was a driver called John Herb. He was a gentleman driver.
A gentleman driver, so not a professional.
Yes. So basically, I went to spot for him during practice.
James is a gentleman driver.
Yes.
Except I don't have Sam's budget for being a gentleman. Exactly. So I'm the gentleman and a driver. Sam is the Mr. Moneybag.
I will be the driver. Yeah, I'm the budget. Okay. So, all right, go ahead. Sorry, Roger. Go ahead.
Okay. So So anyways, so John was struggling to get up to speed. So eventually, the team owner asked me to hop into the car and see if the car would run okay. So
just to see if it was the car or the driver.
Exactly. So
if it was the Indian or the Arrow. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the time, I think, you know, I mean, it's the same symptom when I talked earlier about the rookie test. When you're lifting, the car goes up on air, you lose a lot of front downforce, and then, you know, what happens is you're going to have a lot of understeer. Right. And, you know, and I think it was that combination where he was not comfortable, you know, going flat into the corner, which was causing understeer. And then he started to explain that there's a lot of understeer, but you know, the issue is when you start add wings to that, then all of a sudden your car go loose. And then
that's even more dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why the team owner wanted me to hop in and then, you know, find out if the car was okay. I got into the car and, you know, the car was actually reasonable. Got up to speed right away. So they said, hey, you know what, you know, we're committed with you. So, you know, you got to be racing or at least qualifying the car, and then we'll figure out what we do with the race.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, I think I didn't make a lot of money from that race, but I'm actually quite proud because I didn't bring any money either.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What happened to the guy though? You totally like made him look pretty. Pretty bad.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, again, I think it was nice of him to understand and step out. And then, you know, I think he came back the following year with a different team, and I think he made the field. So.
Oh, he did.
That's good.
Well, but then again, I can't go into the details because of the content of the news, but he was actually in the news.
Oh, really?
For a different reason.
You guys can look it up later.
James is Googling as we speak.
But and Roger, where did you finish that year? Was that 2006? Did you say?
2006, yes, I believe. And I think I've only finished 17th, but
well, it wasn't a high level car, but
well, you know, again, the car was actually pretty good. You know, we just didn't have enough laps before the race. I mean, you know, it was a last minute thing. You know, I got into the car on Friday and qualified on Saturday. So
wow. So you couldn't really set it up to your taste.
No, I mean, we probably had like 50 laps before the race. So given that, I think it was a good year.
Wow. Roger, during your stint in Indy, who do you think, besides yourself, of course, who do you think was to you the greatest driver during that time, or the best, or you know, the guy you go, this guy is pretty damn. This guy he's talented. He's for real. I'm sure there's more than one because everyone who makes it there is a special. But was there one that kind of you said, all right, this guy's the real deal? Yeah, I mean, and you can pick more than one, of course.
Yeah, I mean
but don't say everybody.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the guys that was there before me and then still in the series, which, you know, I think there's still quite a few. I mean, all those guys are, you know, incredibly talented drivers. If I have to pick one, I would say Scott Dixon.
Yeah,
Is by far, to me, is the best guy. I mean, he's obviously been with Chip Ganassi for a long time, and you know the team is fantastic. But you know, all in all, I think, you know, I think Dixon's skills not only comes from speed but patience and, you know, pushing when he needs to, and, you know, staying out of trouble. If you look at his track record of finish, you know, his, you know, qualifying average and finishing average, I mean, they're both well within top 10.
Yeah.
You know, so
well, championship points. I mean, I can't believe the guy is so, I'm not gonna say so old, but he's kind of a grandpa in the series, and he's still vying for the championships, you know?
He just won last year, so.
Yeah, he just won it all last year. So yeah, so Dixon, okay, that's a good one. That's kind of an obvious one, but that's all right, Roger. That's okay. So Roger, after your last IndyCar race, what were you doing? Did you have any thoughts of maybe going NASCAR or maybe even sports car racing? Oh,
did we lose him?
Yeah,
I think that question turned him right off, Sam. What did you do? I
so.
can't believe your line of questionings.
So. Oh, there he is.
Roger's back.
You froze Roger with that question.
Yeah, sorry, Roger. Go ahead. You could answer. You froze right when I asked the question. Did you hear the question?
All right. I did not know. I think I missed the best part.
Oh no, the best part is so after IndyCar, what did you do?
So I actually went to work for an agency that was handling Mitsubishi Motors account.
Oh, jeez.
So
no, but Roger, you were still racing then. You raced that.
Actually, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I raced while I was working for a corporate job.
When you totally said, "Okay, I'm going to retire. I'm done with IndyCar." Well, at least open wheel racing.
Yeah. So when at some point I realized that, okay, I'm running out of money and also talent. So
well, I don't know about talent, but money is right. So, I mean, you have gentlemen racers, right?
Yeah.
They bring the money. They don't have the talent quite bit. I'm not saying James doesn't have talent. I'm saying, you know, the other ones.
Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome. I just had to get that in there.
So yeah, no, you know, as I was approaching my 30s, let's say, you know, I wanted to get an experience working at corporate office, and you know, when I started to think about that, I was like, okay, I really have no knowledge other than racing or cars.
Right.
So
right.
You know, and at the time I was very fortunate to actually get a job at Mitsubishi Motors. So I went to work for Mitsubishi Motors for a couple of years and basically handled their PR team, and also was part of their Pikes Peak effort. And we ended up winning, I believe, in 2014 in the with the EV car out there. So that was basically sort of my first mission. That okay, I really need to get a corporate job, and then, you know,
learn the business side, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So once I did that, I decided to basically go freelance again. And you know, I've actually established my own company to do you know, any kind of consultation or, you know, anything related to racing, motorsports, or cars. So, you know, these days I've obviously I'm still in racing field. Let's say last 2 years I've worked with a team in Japan called Team Go.
Go.
They are a private tier team. Yeah, so they won Le Mans in 2004.
Right.
I've actually had relationship with Mr. Go during my early days. He was the one who actually supported my career. So it was sort of something
that's a good relationship.
Yeah, no. So I think, you know, not only obviously I needed something to do, but, you know, I wanted to do something to, you know, show him all the appreciation and, you know, the support that I got during my early days. So I think it was a great reunion because in 2019, we ran a GT3 program in Japan with the McLaren GT3 car. We had some issues with BOP, so we struggled early on during the season, but we had a second place finish at Otopolis and then qualified on pole at Motegi with a Spanish driver named Alex Palou. And then last year, I oversaw the partnership with Delcoin Racing to have Alex Palou pilot the 55 car. So, and this year I became his business manager for Alex.
So you're a manager now. You're managing race drivers. Wow.
Yeah. So somehow I got myself back into full circle in IndyCar racing.
Wow.
And
spotted for him too, right?
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
And before that, you spotted for Takuma Sato, right, at Indy. So
I did, yes.
That's kind of huge. I mean, it's funny. 2 years of Mitsubishi corporate experience, and he says, "I'm getting back into racing. I don't need any more of that corporate stuff." So, anyways, Roger, can you tell us a little bit about spotting for Takuma then? Because he won Indy once when you were spotting, and the second time you weren't spotting for him, right? His last one, which was last year.
Yeah, last year I was actually spotting for Alex, so
yeah,
I wasn't part of that, but
managing.
Yes.
Oh, did we lose him again?
It's these questions that you're asking, Sam. It's too tough. He's got to take a break every time.
You're breaking the internet.
It's unbelievable.
No, we're breaking the internet, James. This is so good. This is interesting stuff, though, man.
So 2017, yes,
Roger, Roger, yeah, we lost you. So how was it spotting for Takuma?
Yep. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was nice to win, but we had a lot of ups and downs before that. I think we came so close to winning in 2014, and last lap we had
Dario.
That hurt.
Yeah, that
hurt.
Finish. I tip my hat to Takuma for going for it. I mean,
for sure.
On the
left. Yeah. No, for sure. I told him to do it. So.
Oh, you did? You said you gotta get him here or it's over.
Yeah, exactly. It's now or never. I think a lot of people say he could have waited for turn 3, but if he lifted there, he had no chance. So.
Yeah, I mean that was turn 1, right?
Turn 1.
Yeah,
turn 1. So So I think Takuma is a special driver. I mean, I think he's passion as far as being a race driver, and then I think his favorite saying is no attack, no chance. I know he's the one guy.
Cobra Kai of racing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's the one driver that I know that will give 120% every time he's in the car. And I think his style is a little different because he started late. He wasn't like many other drivers that started when they were like 8 years old in karting. He only started when he was 16, I believe.
He was a bicycle guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he would have been like an Olympic. Yeah. So given that experience, I think what he has accomplished is obviously amazing. He did take the right path, I think, and being with the Honda development program and still being with Honda, I mean, I think that shows something or says a lot. And now he is the principal of the Suzuka Racing School Formula in Japan.
Oh,
so,
he is?
Yeah, so he's I guess he's overseeing a lot of the young and upcoming driver that is being developed by Honda. So it's certainly a good thing. Hopefully we'll have a lot more Japanese drivers that will be interested racing in IndyCar series, and we'd love to see a lot more giving a try.
Formula One too, because he's got the Formula
absolutely.
One connection.
Yeah.
So Roger, how was it driving for David Letterman? Because you drove from what, 1 year, 2 years?
Just 1 year in 2004. Yeah. It's no, for sure. It's
is he funny in real life?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I've only got to see him at Indianapolis. Obviously, he comes to that race every year.
That's his backyard.
It was nice spending time with them, and have a lot of sponsor dinners, etc. prior to the race, and him speaking about his experience being involved with the team, etc. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. And how was Ray Hall as an owner? Was he good to work under too?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Bobby himself being a past champion of the Indianapolis 500 and having all that knowledge, I think it's always helpful. I think I was lucky to be racing for many of the team. I mean, I think these days, 80% of the team is owned by former drivers, champions. So, given that, I think it's always nice to have those, team owner giving you a lot of advice on what to do. So, as you grow as a driver, I think that's a very important part of maturing your maturity. Can you hold just one second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Sorry, my dog's knocking on my door and he's making me crazy right now.
Okay. All right. Go
I
ahead.
know the feeling. I know the feeling.
We can pause these. We can take these.
We all have dogs, so.
Okay.
My dog's not barking in the background right now, but he was a couple episodes ago.
Sorry about that.
So Roger, you were helping or tied in with Lexus's racing effort for a little while. Has that ended?
Yes, so basically I helped when Lexus was developing the GT3 car, and they have been on track for 3 or 4 years now. So, I was only involved in the initial part of the launch.
Okay.
At the time, they had some other plans about trying to build, let's say, sort of like a cup car program. So we're doing some testing with that. But at this point, it was basically just the initial phase of the launch of the racing program, and it was very nice to be involved. I still do work with the Lexus team time to time with their PR effort and being a translator for the chief engineers at their PR events and things like that. So it's a great group of people at Lexus to be working with.
Now, Roger, do you only get the itch to get back in, like when you're working with Team Go, with some of these, sports cars and, working with Lexus, and do you get the itch to kind of get back in and go, or do they even say, hey, are you interested in maybe jumping in and being a driver? I mean, that's, if I were a team owner and I had had a sports car team and you were consulting, I go, hey buddy, you want to take a couple laps, just see what your laps are like, I mean, do you get the itch, and do you have the opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, I think that type of passion never goes away. Of course, if there's an opportunity, I would always love to, hop in a car and go out and drive, especially at the racetracks. However, recently, I've been racing against my son on iRacing, and we have this sim set up.
iRacing.
And every track that I go to, I'm like second and a half off his pace. So I'm like, all right.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, so are you telling me there might be another Yasukawa up and coming here?
You never know, I mean, right now he's playing soccer competitively. I keep telling him that there's no scholarship from racing.
No, it's the other way. You have to spend a lot of money.
Exactly.
How old is your son right now?
He's 13 now.
13. Oh, it's a pretty good age to
It's a good
start
age,
looking
yeah.
for sponsors.
Yeah. It's at some point he might, ask for it. But I think it's amazing as far as the level of how real the simulators are these days. I mean, to be able to train. I mean, you don't really get the real life. Okay, if you hit the wall, then it's gonna hurt. So next time you're gonna slow down a lot more.
Or the G. You don't really feel the G's too.
Right. But in general, I think, what you have to do as far as the hand-eye coordination, I think it's very accurate. So I think it's a great training tool, obviously fun, but, at the same time, it might create a little bit of friction within the family with your wife or mom, etc. So we're trying to, balance everything out.
I hear you.
Yeah, we had Jan Mardenborough, who was a GT Academy winner and, went on to become a real race car driver. So
Right.
that's a great learning tool, right?
Uh-huh.
Online racing.
Roger, speaking of hitting the wall, I've been to a lot of your races. I mean, I followed you because you're my friend. I always see you at the race. I can't remember you really hitting a wall hard or anything like that. Did you have any pretty big offs or booms in your career? I can't remember any big ones.
Yeah, no, I think I've been super fortunate in terms of that. I mean, I've actually had one big hit, which was my second race at Phoenix. It's a short 1 mile oval.
Yeah, that's a nasty little.
Yeah, it's a tough place, and but actually, we actually went into a different sequence and strategy, and it was my second race, but I led the race for a moment, and then I ran second for a long time, like during the second stint. And then because we're in different sequence, I had to pit, and for that I got a little frustrated wanting to get up front again too early. So I was trying to make the move over Al Jr. from the outside of turn 1 and 2, hit the bump, and the car spun around on me, and basically I hit the wall backwards. I believe the G at the time was about 90 or close to 100 G. And
100 G, I mean, shouldn't you be dead?
yeah, that was painful.
Wow.
So yeah, but from that hit, I did get a concussion. I had to stay at the hospital overnight, and then for 2 weeks, I was I was quite dizzy for 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and the next round, next race after that was actually Motegi. So I had to be in Japan for 2 weeks doing all the promotional work. Scary thing is, like, I was there, but I don't remember any of them right now.
Ooh,
Oh,
wow.
really? Oh, so you
no.
were, oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was quite knocked out, and before the race, I did take that. I don't know what they call the concussion test.
Protocol or whatever.
The
they call it.
protocol.
Yeah, and I unfortunately failed.
Oh,
But
you failed. Okay.
yeah, I mean, I could say now because I think none of those guys that were around at the time is around anymore. But yeah, I failed, and I was like, oh man, if I don't race here, I don't know if I'm going to have any a career.
Right, because all your sponsors are there. Your Japan's one of your big races because most
That
of
was
the
the
sponsors
biggest
are
race,
there.
right? I mean, Panasonic was our sponsor, Autobax.
And you're
So,
Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. So, and basically the doctor at the time said, okay, well, we'll retest you at Indy, and you got to be clear before the race at the 500. And fortunately, I had enough time to recover. So, interestingly,
Well, you raced it to Motegi too, didn't you? Even though you clear.
No, I raced there that day, and then interestingly, I hit the wall again, but in a different angle.
Right.
And then my brain seemed to like reset itself, and I was fine.
So you whacked it back into line.
Exactly.
Okay, that's really safe.
Science.
That's the best way
what
to
it is.
do
It's
it.
science.
Yeah. Holy cow! Oh, so you actually you DNF'd on there too because of the crash?
So those were the two major GNF, let's say, and then maybe after that I kind of learned my lesson, and then I mean, the biggest thing is to keep it off the wall. If you don't finish, then you really have no chance of winning. So.
But Roger, the second race, I mean, do you remember hitting, the wall? I mean, do you think you hit the wall because you weren't 100% there, or was it just?
I mean, I could easily say that now, but maybe.
But
yes.
who's to say?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, but for sure, when you're taking the concussion test, and when you're not fully recovered, because you can't concentrate more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times did you race Motegi, Roger?
I think 5 times as well, 5 or 6.
Really?
5 or 6
I
times.
thought it was more because because you were racing it when we were working together too.
Yeah.
I was at one of your races. I don't think it's the one you crashed though. I remember seeing you at Motegi at one of the races, but
Awesome.
maybe you had a concussion, so you don't remember seeing me there.
Could have been 2003.
Could have been.
Yeah, that's but Phoenix. Phoenix is kind of famous for people going into the wall, isn't it? I mean, it's a tight track. I remember Nigel Mansell went into the wall backwards there. He almost killed himself.
Nigel. Hiro Matsushita had a big one there too.
Oh, Hiro, King Hiro.
Yep.
Yeah. So. So Roger, your driver now, the one you're representing, what's his name again? We'll try to.
His name is Alex Palou.
P-I-L-L-O or P-A-L-O?
P-A-L-O-U.
Oh, sorry.
Hello.
P-A-L-O-U. We'll get it up on the on screen here so we can all root for him. But he is running what series now?
So he's in IndyCar series this year. He's going to be racing for Chip Ganassi Racing.
That's a pretty big
10 car.
That's the number 10 car.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
oh wait, he was at Indy. He was part of the Indy series last year too, wasn't he?
Yes. So he ran the 55 car. Basically, was in partnership with Dale Coyne and Team Go.
Okay. Oh, okay. And you've kind of nurtured him from Team Go. Is that where?
So basically, in 2019, he drove for our GT3 300 team, and then also at the time he was running Super Formula with Nakajima Racing.
Oh, all in Japan then.
Yes.
Yeah, GT300 in the Super Asian GT series, right?
Yeah.
Super
So,
GT series. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Super GT and both Super Formula.
Right.
So, he was in Japan.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah,
Alex
there you
Palou.
go. There you go. So yeah, and obviously we got to know each other quite well. First obviously he was focused to be racing in Japan in Super Formula Series, but over time he started to tell me that his dream was to actually come over to US and race in the IndyCar Series. So basically, I think it was summer of 2019. I helped him get a test at Mid Ohio day after the race with Dilcoin Racing. And during that test, he showed a lot of speed. Actually, his time was actually quicker than pole time with the harder compound tire. Obviously the track was rubbered in and might have been in good condition, but certainly impressed everybody. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this kid's a natural talent. I mean, what he can do with the car is really amazing. I've seen him. I've worked with him last 2 years, and his raw speed is obviously, probably one of the most impressive I've seen in a long time. Of course, he still needs a little bit more of a racecraft to be learned.
He looks like he's getting ready to go, into middle school here.
He's still 23. He'll be 24 this year.
Oh, he's 24? Okay, yeah, he looks like he's like 17. My God. Yeah. So, Palou, what is he? Is he where's he from? Oh, we lost Roger again. He's got to get better Wi-Fi here.
I have the opportunity to drive for Chip Ganassi Racing in that team.
Oh, what was that? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Roger, where's Alex Palou? Is he Spanish? What name is that?
Yeah, so he's from Barcelona.
Oh, he is Spanish.
In Spain.
Oh, we lost him again. Roger, you got to get better Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi at Indy 500s, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, where's James?
James is there.
Oh,
James is kind of
Everybody
frozen
there?
though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's Roger. Roger, we got to get
back.
better. You got to get better Wi-Fi there at Indy 500.
Oh, we lost James now. What is going on today?
I'm not sure why the internet sounds stable here, but
hey Roger, what kind of things are you like coaching Alex with now? Like what are you working on with him, and what kind of things you advise him when he's racing?
Well, I mean, I think his driving skills, there's nothing I could teach. Last year, as far as the old racing, I always say try to give him all the tips. So, know how, what to do and what not to do. He's now at the level driving for Chip Ganassi Racing, and he's got guys like Dario Franchitti, overseeing the whole driving coaching at Chip Ganassi. So there's, as his business manager, I'm not so involved on driving part anymore, but
his contracts,
his agreements, obviously finding other sponsors for him. That's why I call myself his business manager, because of course I'll talk to him about racing every day, but the way I look at it is my main duty for him is overseeing his agreements, setting up his corporate account, his tax situation. Again, he's still 23. He's quite young, and obviously he doesn't know. He has to learn all those stuff. For the U.S. law, let's say.
Sure.
So, I'm just basically helping him out with that. Unique thing about him is he's still 23, but he owns a coffee shop in a city called Girona in Spain.
Oh, really?
He's also doing that. I mean, we have a lot of common talks because I know both Taro and Sam. I know you guys know, but James, I actually own I'm in partnership as an owner of a ramen shop here in Torrance, California. So we have something sort of in common with I have something in common with Alex, where sort of as a business owner, we know what it takes, etc. So
sure.
It's been a great partnership. I mean, I truly hope that he will succeed this year to stay with Chip Ganassi for a long time. I know he needs
he's got a good team.
So, I mean, there's no excuse this year. So I think I'm very confident that he's going to prove he'll surprise a lot of people. I mean, I know he did already last year, but this year I think it's going to be his year where he's going to be able to catch a lot of people's eye.
Yeah, well, so young and so fresh into Indy, and he lands with a major team. That's kind of unusual, isn't it? I mean,
I think it's all timing. I mean, I go back, let's say, if we go back 2 years ago when I was talking to Alex first, that, I told him, I know you want to make it to IndyCar, but to make a career out of it, it's either you got to be able to bring some sort of sponsorship funding,
right.
or if not, you got to be there at the right time. Fortunately, last year we had the partnership with Team Go, so he sort of got his foot into the door. When that 10 car became available, obviously we got in touch with Chip Ganassi Racing, and again, we're very lucky to be in the position to sign an agreement and be
amazing.
Part of the team. But the thing now is, I think the series is so competitive now, a lot more competitive than when I was racing. I think probably as good as maybe late 90s or early 2000 kart days, where, if you start counting the teams, you've got 4 Penske cars this year, 4 Ganassis, you got McLarens, and yeah, exactly. Just to even finish in top 10, right. It's going to be so difficult. And
you got Andretti's team, right? Which
I didn't even include Andretti, exactly. So, and today we had an announcement, and I shouldn't say we, but there was an announcement from Del Coyne that they're going to put Romain Grosjean in one of their cars.
Oh, they are?
Okay.
Yeah, for the street and road course. So there's, there's a lot of.
You wouldn't want to put him on an oval then.
Well, I think the team offered him, but he basically said no after the crash. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
So Alex made a pretty easy transition from road courses to ovals, obviously,
it was a challenging year last year because actually his first IndyCar race was at Texas, and it was a one-day event. He went to Texas Motor Speedway, I believe, in March to do a one-day test, sort of like his rookie test. But during that day, it wasn't like they, he had any drafting partners or anything. It was just basically going around. So, he showed up, in June, he came back to US, he showed up to Texas, he only got a couple laps and he had to go racing. So it was a, big learning curve for him. And then the next race, next oval race, I believe might have been Iowa, which is another short oval. But I think he cooked it really. He's a quick learner. He has great car control skills. It's about basically understanding, when to push and when not to. And I think he learned it in many ways. At the 500 last year, I think he could have qualified on pole if his weight jacker, which is a tool that you shift your basically weight to balance your car. During my days, you would use that tool during qualifying to just fine tune your balance. But nowadays, it's basically became a tool to drop your rear ride height. So by dropping your rear ride height, you're getting more speed down the front straightaway. So it's kind of like the DRS in F1, where you have the wing flap, basically.
Make it a cleaner car, right?
Exactly. So so the way it works these days in qualifying with a weight jacker is you use that to change your ride height. So and when that fails, you basically you don't have the downforce that you need. So unfortunately, he failed during his second lap, but he was tracking to actually qualify on pole, and he had the fastest speed going into turn 1. I think they caught him at 241 miles per hour.
That's a good speed.
That's almost too fast.
Yeah. So I think he did great at the Speedway. Unfortunately, in the race, he ended up hitting the wall, but I think he learned from it, and so therefore I think this will be the year where he'll definitely need to pick up and finish consistently, but also up front. And he's got all the tools and teams and support that he needs now, so I think he'll be able to accomplish
me and Taro and James will tell him, hey, your business manager was top 10 twice, okay? So if you can't beat your business manager, man.
I'm sure he will.
Okay, so we'll be watching for him, and hopefully, Roger, we could catch up when you're at with Alex too at Long Beach, but I don't know if that race is going to happen.
Well, they've already actually made an announcement in September. Yeah, so I think it'll happen in September. Yeah,
I hope so. Okay. Well, Roger, we wish you the best of luck. We wish you the best of luck with Alex, and Yeah, it's just great to see you in racing. You are one of the few Japanese Americans that have represented us. So I mean, James has too many. They're all Brits, the good racers, but you know, it's good to have you in there, Roger, and waving the flag for us. So.
And so, Roger, before you go, where can people find you on social, and what's the name of your ramen place again? Remind us.
So the ramen place is called Zabon Ramen, Zabon. It is in Torrance. The cross street is basically Western Avenue and Carson Street. If
visit. Yep. Everybody go.
Yeah,
that would greatly appreciate it. And then, yeah, my social sites, I think I'm not, well, I've been more or less on social these days, so I'm not posting as much anymore, but you could find me on Facebook with Roger Yasukawa, or same thing on Instagram and Twitter, I guess. But I haven't been posting so much recently, so do not get angry with me. If I don't.
Well, you're too busy promoting your driver, so.
Exactly.
So.
Right.
Okay, Roger, I know you got to go.
Right.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Sam, for getting me on the show. Thanks. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Yep. Bye-bye.
See, that was cool. Oh, I think there he goes. So, well, that was good. You know, a little racing. I know you enjoyed that, James, because you're the racing guy. So
I did, Sam. I did very much so.
That's very interesting to hear about.
You're welcome to jump in and ask your very, very, very complicated questions, you know.
Well, look, I don't want to be in the situation where I try and interject myself in there by saying Sam, and our viewers
we like that because
complain.
Because our listeners out there have noticed
our listeners are engaging, James.
Exactly.
It's a positive thing.
But they just, those positive things of just them telling me off. So I don't really get that that positive vibe. But more importantly, Sam, what is the news that you're going to talk about this week?
Well, before I get into that, since we have a little time, hey, James, when do you remember ever first getting into, you know, being a product of England, from an English point of view, the Indy 500, Indy car racing, was that always something that, like NASCAR, that's what those guys in the Yanks do across the pond. That's not our thing. But then, you know, when Nigel came, I'm sure that was a big deal. But I mean, do you have any memories of how, you started following?
I mean, obviously, I mean, you look at Graham Hill, who's the only man to like win it all. And then no one's probably going to do that again, win Monaco, win the Indianapolis 500 and win Le Mans. So no one's going to do that again. I mean, I think Fernando's trying to do it, but I don't think Fernando will do it.
No, that's the Graham.
The trifecta.
Graham Hill, yeah.
Exactly. The
before
classic.
that, remember Jimmy Clark, right? With the with Colin Chapman,
and I know
rear engine car, racing against all the front engine cars.
Yeah, and obviously, personally, here I know the person that he went up against and didn't manage to win that race when he should have won. Here. I think, wasn't it, he went in and did the racing and then it lost on the last, there was a bit of nefarious doings, I will say, and maybe the home crowd advantage went to the Americans opposed to the person from overseas in regards to the race. But that's a different story for another.
What the heck are you talking about, Taro? You know what he's talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, I'm getting mixed up between my racing car drivers, but there was a win there that should have been given and wasn't given, and there was a bit of nefarious activities. But anyway, that's a different story for another day.
Was that the Nigel one?
No. But anyway, when Nigel came across, that was more serious business, especially when he jumped out of the car and had to roll on the ground because he thought he was on fire.
Oh, yeah. What you mean with the car on top of his car?
Yeah.
Dripping hot radiator water or something on his back?
Yeah. So, I mean, and Nigel was a racer, and obviously he'd just win the championship there, and to come across at the pinnacle and not defend it was interesting as well. But other than that, I think when I was really getting into the racing, that was when the sort of split happened between the two. Yeah. And it was a bit unusual at that time in regards to what was going down. So the focus went back to Formula One. So, I mean, that's kind of my take on it. I did go, I think I was at the 2004 MotoGP IndyCar Grand Prix. I won.
When you were living in Japan.
Yeah, I won tickets for that from the new Japanese newspaper, and I caught the train out and then hitchhiked the race. So it was interesting.
Wow. Someone actually picked you up?
Yeah, someone actually picked me up. And the funny thing was, is they were working for one of the teams out there doing translation. And then no one actually ever asked for my ticket. So I just went straight through. So it was great. It was one of those funny things.
So you went in with the team?
Yeah, so they dropped me off. But the hard part was obviously coming back from the race. And that's when no one picked me up. And it was one of those unique times when obviously you didn't have GPS on or tracking on your phone.
Yeah.
So you didn't know how to get there. So it was just trying to find a train station. And then
It's
obviously
far. It's far
Oh
from the
yeah,
station.
that's in the boonies. It's in the mountains.
Yeah, yeah.
and that's what I mean. And then when you get to the train station there, it's not exactly a guided friendly train station as well.
Oh, you have to kind of ask around or know someone. I mean, I think I'd have a hard time getting back to Tokyo from Motegi.
But I did it, and so I'm proud to say I managed to do it. So that I'm still here to this day.
You know, James, if this was a Disney movie, you would have got in with the team and you would have actually raced.
I know that would have been what happened. That would have happened. But I mean, that's my experience in Motegi when I went out there for the day. And
Did you enjoy the race?
Yeah, the race was really good.
Yeah.
But
do you remember who won that?
No, I can't remember. I think I had too much sun, and then obviously I think the definitely the sun. It was kind of like, you know, that scene in the desert when you're like on the movies when they're walking through and they lose all their clothes and then they get all ripped and then they start crawling by the end of it. That was me getting to the train station. So I think the sun had taken it. I barely made it. Yes, it was just like water. Water. My hands were out there for water, and I passed like a skeleton who was doing the same thing from like 2 years ago. It says all happened. Yeah.
Oh well.
Tony Kanan won when I went. I forgot which year it was, but
I think that was the same year.
I don't know. But Dan, our buddy Dan Frio was there too when I went.
Oh really? Oh.
Yeah, he was there with like. You remember he used to run the Honda tuning magazine? So Honda like invited. He was on like some Honda trip.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So let's get to my scoops then, shall we? Thank you for sharing, James. That was a great story.
I try to share when I can here.
Well, we gotta cut and yank it out of you sometimes, right?
Well, I try. You know, I'm not. You wait for it in the book, Sam. Maybe I'll get a ghostwriter who can help me put all these stories down.
Yeah, well, I might have to help you with that. So, anyways, let's get to my first car here. The first car is, as you can see, let's see, has James put it up yet?
Well, which one? You've got two.
Oh, the Toyota. I'm sorry, the Toyota. Wait for it to come up. And this is the only photo I have of it. So, and it is from Best Car. So I'll give my Best Car guys props. Here we go. So anyways, as you can see by the, whatchamacallit, hold on here, the license plate or whatever it's called, it is a Corolla.
I like the Photoshop job that you've done on the
I just try to clean it up, you know. I just try to clean it up. That's all I did, you know. But it says Best Car there, but it's like right in the middle of the thing. Come on, this one's not bad. The other one was really bad. I remember that.
It's better than the Z.
Yeah, the Z was that was bad.
Now that you've drawn my attention to it, Taro, I can't ever not unsee it now.
Yeah,
and it's getting worse. It's getting worse the more I look at it.
For some reason, there's a katakana "be," the "be" on the wheel.
Okay,
and it's not.
I'm not even going to try anymore. Okay,
it's not only that. It's the top left-hand corner above the windscreen is the one I'm more concerned of, where the road just sort of merges into the grass.
Yeah, right here on the top. Yeah,
it's really flashing to me now. It's like two beacons I've got going off. It's unbelievable.
Okay, you know, I'm not even gonna try it. But anyways, okay, so I guess the current king of the hot Japanese hatches right now, I would think, will probably be the Honda Civic Type R. Like a D segment car, which isn't really a sports car like the 8.6 or anything. So, and that front drive compact car is pretty much becoming legendary in my eyes, just because, you know, it's set the record at Nürburgring, which I don't think it has anymore, but I think they might want to go get it back. I'm not sure, but it is probably one of the fastest, one of the most dialed in front wheel drive cars like in the marketplace, and Honda knows how to do front wheel drive cars. And it has a really, really good following among import enthusiasts. As I will point out, our next generation Honda Civic Type R scoop videos, I think over 3,000 views. So looks like there's a lot of interest in that. So now, while Toyota, and you know, Toyota tries to do everything well, but you know, they're sometimes having a hard time trying to get, you know, be like the #1 sporty car in any segment. But while Toyota's upped its compact hatch game with the recently introduced Yaris GR, unfortunately, it's not a car we get here, but it's a car that Arisa, the drifter, is drifting right now, and she's talked well about it. We haven't really driven yet because it's not available here. But we hear that Toyota will be adding to the Yaris GR with a new version of the Corolla, which will be due out as soon as this September. So we're talking like 5 months. So this car will go by the name the Corolla Sports GRMN. And Taro, do you remember what GRMN stands for?
Gazoo Racing.
Yes. Do you remember what
GR.
the MN stands for?
What was the MN?
You don't remember, do you, James?
Mitani.
No, yeah, I wish. German Meister Nürburgring. So
Yeah, I was going to
Master
say,
of
I thought it was the Nürburgring, right?
Yeah, so GRMN stands for, Gazoo Racing, Master of the Nürburgring. So if anyone asks, now you know.
That's right.
So this car will come powered by a turbocharged 1.6 liter inline 3, which is basically the same power plant as the Yaris GR. And you're getting 272 horsepower out of this inline 3, 1.6 liter inline 3, and 272 pound-feet of torque. So it's going to be a very, very fast, very quick car. We are hearing, 0 to 60 times in the low 5s or even under 5. It'll come mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox, which means, yes, the manual gearbox is not dead. It seems like more and more cars are, these performance cars are coming with a manual gearbox. The Yaris GR comes with the manual gearbox also.
No,
And,
is this a rumor or is it like pretty close to being a reality kind of thing?
I would say pretty close to being reality, but it's still a rumor. Our ninja otakus are very, very, very
Otaku info. Yep.
Yeah. Or else, I would have a concept picture instead of this car with a bat on the wheel. Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll come into a 6-speed manual gearbox, and this one, just like the Yaris, will be all-wheel drive. So that kind of gets me to talk to our racing expert, James. James, they have a Yaris, which is, Yaris is a pretty small car. This one's a little bigger.
Mhm.
I mean, which one would I think, would be more WRC-esque,
Well, the Yaris, because that's the one they race in the WRC.
Yeah, but they used to run the Corolla. So why do that with a Corolla then? Is it because, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just think that they've got the Yaris is the one that they're pushing. I think they push in more markets than they do the Corolla. But I think that the reality is the Yaris comes in at a more conventional price point. So a lower price point would help them do with the sales. I also think, though, that this image that you sent up seems to be, shall we say, it looks a little less, not as aggressive as the GR Yaris. I mean, I could think that we should see a lot more aero on a Corolla if it's going to be wear that moniker. So I think that while the front looks right, I think this might be more aero coming on this Corolla if it does go into production, which makes sense to me of putting the engine and drivetrain you've got into a slightly bigger platform. I don't think it'd be too much of a stretch to make that happen.
Oh, and then kind of cater to the enthusiasts, the driving enthusiasts who need a little bit bigger car or something, right?
Exactly. I mean, obviously the Yaris is 2-door. This is 4-door. It's a very, very similar platform. So it doesn't take much development costs, I'd assume. Obviously, it's going to still be millions of development costs, but relative to creating a new model with the same engine, it gives you more options for people that like 4 doors as opposed to ones that have the 2 doors. I mean,
I think they have a 4-door Yaris as well, though.
Not in the GR Yaris, though, Tara.
Oh, the GR.
Yeah, the GR is pretty much WRC. WRC.
I see. Yeah.
WRC.
So if you're going for that performance, then it makes sense. Why not do the 4-door as a Corolla and the 2-door as the Yaris and have 2 different cars with the same sort of similar performance figures and to go into 2 different markets?
Well, right on James's logic there, our otaku ninjas came back to us and said, Toyota isn't necessarily aiming to move in on the Honda Civic Type R's turf. Even though they're both 4 doors, they're about the same size. I think D segment or what have you. and because, number one of it's because of its four-wheel drive layout. But instead, they say that the company is going after the Germans, most notably Volkswagen and the Golf GTI and the Golf R variant. So the Golf GTI is, pretty much the same size, same four-door hatch. And the Golf GTI produces 228 horsepower, which is considerably lower than the Corolla Sports GRMN, if all our information is correct. And if Toyota it tends to go after the Golf R variant, it'll need a lot more power than what this current engine's giving, because the Golf R variant produces 333 horsepower from its turbocharged 2-liter inline 4. So, I don't know if this Corolla is going to even move up even more, but I think with a 1.6-liter inline 3, turbocharged, I think at 272, almost 300 horsepower is pretty, I would think, maxed out on that for a production car. So we won't know, but this car will fit right in between the two Golfs. No word on price for this Corolla Sports GRMN, or if it will be available in the US. Let's hope it is. But if it's going to follow in the footsteps of the Yaris, it probably won't make it here, but maybe they made this one so it can come to North America. So let's hope we will be on the lookout for this car. Any thoughts on this car, guys?
I mean, I obviously really like it. A fun fact,
sounds like
the first car that I purchased on Gran Turismo Sport was the GR Yaris. That's the first car that I acquired there. So I'm just saying that I'm a big fan, and if they can bring this a sporty a GR version of the Corolla over here to the US, I'm all in for that. That'd be fantastic. And
being a Brit, you kind of like these kind of touring cars, rally car.
Definitely.
Kind of,
I like the smaller car. I mean, I don't think there's any need for bigger cars. This is perfect for me. I mean, the 4 doors make it handy to put stuff in the back, a little easier. But I like it. I'm all in. I would do anything to drive that GR Yaris. If I had the same drivetrain in this Corolla, same thing. Want to be all over
both
it.
cars, yeah.
And I wonder if it's like. I was just wondering if this car would be competing against like the Subarus, the STIs, or.
Oh, I totally think so. Don't you?
More of those than the Type R Corolla.
I totally think so, but I think the
Subaru
is going to. Yeah, but the Subaru I think is going to be on another level just because the engine's a lot bigger, right? And that's a flat 4. This one's still an inline 3, so it might come in lower price.
Yeah.
I could. Yeah, and Toyota owns a lot of Subaru, right? I mean, Subaru's all Toyota owns a lot of shares in Subaru, so I don't know if they want to go cannibalizing each other too much, but
I just pulled up I was going to say, Sam, I just pulled up the GR Yaris there, which just shows what I mean by I think it'd need to have more.
It's small.
Well, no, it's more aggressive bodywork than what the Corolla that you're showing. You know what I mean? How wide it is there at the front and the back.
Oh, I love the rear fender flares. Yeah, but the bulging fenders. But and it is small. So I mean, I would. Well, put it this way, James. Which car, if you had the choice of both cars, which car would be in your garage?
I'd happily take either. I'd have no.
I say give me the 4-door.
If I'm looking at the style of what we're predicting this based on that, I prefer the looks of the Yaris because I think it's a lot more aggressive, and I'm a little boy racer at heart. But if I wanted to shock people at the traffic lights and not give up, like my wife, maybe she'd probably want the Corolla.
Yeah, but let's just say the Corolla. This, that's a concept drawing. So let's say the Corolla is pretty. It's got some flair. I'd like the 4 doors. It gives you, it makes it a little easier just to put stuff in the back. Yeah, Carl, you too, probably, right? You have the.
Yeah, I'd go for the 4-door if if they came out with that thing and it's what they say, or what you say is what they come out with.
What we should do? See if these guys would like this. We should come with like a Ninja Otaku logo or something and come up with shirts. People go, whoa, what is that? It'd be good promotion, Carl. Our Ninja Otakus would like it, but we can't reveal their sources because,
our next Podspeed t-shirts will be with the Ninja Otakus on them.
Oh, very cool.
There we go. That's what you want to say.
Very cool. Well, okay. Yeah. All right. So it looks like we're all in agreement that Toyota, this car would be really cool to have out here.
Definitely.
I think
thumbs up.
Yeah. Thumbs up for everyone.
I put my toes up as well if need be for this one. I'm all
Yeah,
in.
you really, yeah. Well, we don't see James get this excited about some of these scoops, so I'm feeling good vibes here, buddy. So,
That's it. That's how everyone should gauge my reactions on cars. And they should, if James likes it, we'll bring it to market.
okay, so let's go from staying in the same family. Let's go from James's price point to my price point. We'll go with the Lexus LC F. I'm just joking, James. You know that.
No, it's true. It's very true. Everyone who is listening and watching this, it is absolutely 100% true.
So ever since the LC came out, I mean, and me exactly is, when is the F going to come out? Is there going to be an F, you know? And, you know, and the Lexus never really said anything about it. And they said, no. So, but you know, that's natural because they have to sell the, you know, the regular LCs. And to me, it's still one of the coolest coupes out there. And it doesn't get as much love as I thought it would get. You know, it's just, you know, it's just not out there being compared with the Astons and the Maserati.
It's a great looking car, you know. I love the LC.
It's one of the
great sounding car as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah, James had it for a week, and
that's right.
The bit on the wheel is awesome too.
Shut up. They put it in the same place. So that one I want. Okay, but anyways, moving on. While it's priced on the high end, you know, the LC, it starts at $93,000. Yeah, we do agree that it is one of the prettiest cars in the marketplace. Okay.
And but Sam, while it is expensive, it is value for money. Let's knock around here.
Yeah,
I mean,
when you compare it with some of the other cars,
just in general, I mean, it's a good-looking car. I get a lot of value in there. The quality of build is fantastic. It is heavily performance-oriented.
Well, it's a Lexus. Of course, the quality of build is going to be fantastic. Exactly. So, yeah. So the thing is, why isn't it getting as much love as it should? That's what we're saying. But you know, it's Lexus is still an early, not early, but a late arrival into that, you know, that whole super luxury sport coupe market. So I think they're just still trying to kind of establish themselves there, and I think this is a great car to do it. And hopefully, you know, they'll keep going and produce this car that we see here, which is the LCF. Now, there's a lot of people get confused that, well, so what's the F Sport? So an F Sport, there's already, I think I'm almost positive there's already an LC F Sport out there. There's an F Sport for, I think, every single Lexus car or Lexus vehicle, including the SUVs. Now the F Sport is only really gets handling and visual enhancements. Handling enhancements and visual enhancements. No real engine mods.
Sam, I was just going to mention that for the LC, it's a classy vehicle, so they call that the Signature Series.
Oh, okay. So Signature Series. So
Signature Series is for the LC.
Kind of the F edition, F Sport for the LC. Correct. Thank you.
No worries. I'll just pull up one of the ones right now.
Yes, please.
So yeah.
So anyway, so that's, and you know, and there's an F, not F Sport, but an F version where you get the full-on engine mods on cars like the IS and the RC. So you kind of wonder, why not the LC? I mean, this car, if any car deserves an F version. And do you guys know what F stands for in Lexus?
It means F and fast.
It could, but it's not.
Fuji.
Yes, exactly. So Toyota and Lexus, they own Fuji Speedway. So this is kind of their racing car. So F stands for Fuji. Very good. Very good. But it could stand for F and fast. I think that might be better.
Thank you.
So anyways, yeah. So anyways, so our Ninja Otaku say, hey, there is rumblings about an LCF coming out not that far in the future, maybe as soon as this year. Okay.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So the LC's power plant, the one you see here that James has put up, the regular LC, even the Signature Series, comes with a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 that produces 471 horsepower. They also have a hybrid, but we're going to concentrate on the big engine, the 5-liter V8. What we hear is the LCF will get a twin turbocharged, so it won't be naturally aspirated anymore, a twin turbocharged 4-liter V8 that produces 670 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. So that's putting it into the supercar range. And just as a side note, the LSF, the 4-door, you know, the luxury cruiser, that is supposedly going to get an F version too with the same engine. So we're talking like, yeah, a big, it looks like Lexus is saying, okay, we're going after AMG, we're going after the M's.
Yeah, that's AMG territory there.
Yeah. So that's more than 160 horsepower more than the $150,000 Aston Martin Vantage. And it's about the same power as the Mercedes-Benz SL65 AMG, which was sold north of $220,000. And the next, I think the next podcast I'm gonna see what I can what I can get from my Ninja Otakus in Germany about the 2022 SL. I think the next one's going to come out on 2022, and they say there is some information out there on it already. The next Mercedes-Benz, but this car, we don't know what the price is, but we're hearing it will probably be in the $150,000 range. So when you think about it, it's exactly what James said. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of money, but when you think about the horsepower, 670 horsepower, 480 pound-feet of torque, the quality of this car, it kind of a pretty good deal. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Agreed.
Good bang for buck. Yeah.
Yeah, $150,000 is a lot, and we don't know if that's the price. That's the price we're hearing from our otakus, our ninjas. But do you think they could? Do you think this car would be a very attractive entry at that price range, or can they even get more? Do you think, guys?
I mean, I think it's an attractive price point there, and I think it's a great idea. I mean, I'm all for it.
And I love how this thing looks. I mean, this of course is another artist rendering, but you know, he did take a real LC, and you know, used his imagination to see, not just his imagination. We get feedback from Toyota engineers and designers to see what they look like. So we're usually pretty close. Also,
Sam, I was just going to throw up something else to sort of compare and contrast it again. That's actually you can buy from Lexus at this point in time. So this is their current
RC.
Yeah, and it's their Fuji Speedway edition.
Okay. Oh yeah, RCF. Yeah.
So as you can see, the styling of there, it's got the carbon roof and the carbon body panels. The wing look very similar. The wheels look very similar. So I mean, it's very good research there, James. Investigative research. Yeah. Oh, did we lose James?
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I think it's a great idea. You know, get Lexus. It's basically an AMG of Lexus. So
yeah. Oh, there's James. So, anyways, yeah. So, anyways, I'm hoping that this car will make it, because I think it really puts Lexus, even if it doesn't sell, you know, 1 million units, it puts them on the map, and it lines them up with Europe's best. And I think that would be a great boost for Japanese companies and, you know, Lexus itself. So thumbs up for me. I hope they come up with this thing. I hope
for the brand.
Right.
Yeah. So, I think it's a good move for the brand. I like it.
So anyways, yep, I like it too. That's all for me. So and you know, I'm the only one here who consistently has my segment prepared, ready every other week.
Who doesn't? Are you saying that about me?
Not just you. There's another guy.
What do you mean? I'm not having. I was ready last week, and someone took all the time up, so I didn't get to have my piece.
That's just an excuse. You have all the time in the world.
What do you mean? What do you mean I'm never ready? I mean, I've got my image here ready to go. I don't understand this, Sam.
Terrible, Sam.
Well, I mean, if the image, I mean, you can't even see the car. It's so dark. What car is that?
What do you mean? What car is this? It's the Mazda 626, Mazda 6 Grand Touring.
You're still calling it the 626?
Yeah, it's because I'm too busy trying. I had so many images. I'm calling it 6. There's the second one there.
Okay, these images are much better. Wow, it's beautiful, beautiful car.
So this was my most recent loaner vehicle, which you can read the review up on nobrakingpodcast. As soon as this airs, we can then get the YouTube video. Then it will be up on gtchannel.com on the blog section there. But this was the sedan I had from Japan for under sub $40,000. I think it's a very compelling offer. It comes around 250 horsepower when you put the premium gasoline in it for the 4-cylinder turbo, which makes it nice. This is the more expensive carbon edition that they did as their special edition. But one of the things I really like about this car is the interior and how nice it is. I mean, the vehicle that I did, the Grand Touring, came in at around 35,000, which I think was a very good price point for this car. It's luxurious on the inside side. The only negatives that I'd say, and this seems to be a common trend with me now from some of these cars I'm driving, I just think the tires that it comes with just could have been a little quieter and a little bit more performance oriented instead of run flat all season oriented. I think that it really does a little bit of a disservice when it's going for that luxury, and you get either the wheel spin in first when you're not even going that fast, or you're just getting a little bit extra loud road noise coming through the car. The other thing that I think is one of those things that would be an easy fix for them is the head unit that they're using is still the same one that they've been using for quite some time. While it is easy to go through and use, it's not quite as updated as it should be for this price point at $35,000. They've got a better unit in the Mazda 3 that I think,
really?
which could be a good fit here, or just a very simple upgrade between the two, and it'd make it a little bit better and a little bit more luxurious. But I mean, and it's going up against some big hitters here, obviously in this segment, going up against the Honda Accord, the Toyota Camry, so it is going up against some big hitters, but it is Mazda, so it is a niche player. It feels to me more luxurious than those, and maybe a little bit more enjoyable, I'd say, in driving it around. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a very compelling offer in that segment. I mean, we know that the sedan segment is getting smaller every year with the emergence of people purchasing more SUVs, but this is one that I'd certainly recommend if someone's looking for a four-door sedan that's more sizable. Then they certainly should be looking at the Mazda.
Well, I'm going to ask you then, James, between the Accord, Camry, and the Mazda 6, how would you rank them? Kind of put you on the spot here.
No, it's quite all right. I think that the best looking one is the Mazda by far. I think the other two have some different options that I'd like to explore, if that makes sense. So obviously the Toyota and the Honda, they come with hybrid power plants where the Mazda does not. So I think that's a little bit more of a feather in their cap. And I think that they are both, also the Camry and the Accord, are a little bit bigger. But I think with that comes a higher price point too. So if you wanted to go a more luxurious take on the interior of the car at a little bit cheaper price point, but losing a few mile per gallon for efficiency, then the Mazda is the way to go.
How'd you like the infotainment system?
I think the Honda one is the best infotainment system of the three. I think that the Toyota one lacks a bit in its, I will say, ease of use. It seems a little bit older. And I do think that the Mazda comes in a combination of the two, where it's easy to use when you get used to the thumb, that you will deal with the twisting of the dials and so forth, the change. It's easier than the Toyota system, but it's not quite as good as the Honda system. So I think it's a good, compelling player in that market, going up against those two, which would say are the big players in that market.
Very good. Very cool. Okay.
So, and that's my little pitch on that. Other than that, I'd say that I've obviously, the No Braking podcast is up and running. If I share that to give you there to see the ones that are the most latest ones. So we've got the most recent one that
Junkman 356.
was
He froze.
It froze on Junkman.
He froze on Junkman
Oh, there
356.
These are his guests. We can't hear James. There you are.
I still got my back again. Oh my
You're
word!
back.
What's happened with the internet? So Myron is based out of Ohio. He's one of my white whales I've been trying to get in the show for a very long time. He is also a very enthusiastic collector of Japanese vehicles.
Okay.
Cool. Did we lose him again?
He froze again.
Killing me. There, it's killing me, Small. I'm sorry about this.
The internet is not cooperating in Hollywood.
I know.
Either.
It's not. So as I come back to it, so Myron is a very big fan of JDM vehicles.
Okay.
So he has got a collection of them here in the US. In fact, he's got
AutoZam.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is one of the ones. I think this is probably my favorite car that he owns. His Sylvia.
Cool. Oh, the Sylvia. Yeah, very cool.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh, that one looks like right from the Peterson Museum. Don't tell me it was.
It was.
Oh, it was, okay.
And then this week's guest that dropped today is Hansel from Lean Customs. So we talk about his career in the pin game and regards his artistic time and what it takes to make pins and so forth. So yeah.
Very
Cool.
interesting. We will be downloading it where podcasts are downloaded, correct?
Everywhere you want.
Everywhere.
Anywhere you think podcast, you can find it there.
Awesome.
Everywhere we
Cool.
go. Check it out.
Taro, what do you got for us?
So GT Channel, today we released a video. Visit gtchannel.com. So Spoon redid the EK9. Just like
Is it the Built by Legend?
it's not the Built by Legend.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's not the Built by Legend one, but it's kind of the, you know, the legendary Spoon EK9 that we've all seen in Best Motoring and Hot Version and stuff like that. They just updated it with some, you know, modern technology. So they have a kind of a new design, you know, theme with the red and silver gold lines on the side. Carbon fiber, you know, engine, you know, power is not upgraded, but the response definitely is, just by, you know, all of their balancing, all the engine parts and stuff like that. And our man, Captain Bradford, he went and drove this thing. So you guys go check out the video on gtchannel.com. Sam, have you ever driven a Spoon like road car? Not the race car. I know you've raced it.
Yeah, I only just the race cars.
Okay. Yeah. So like Keiichi is always like, you know, Spoon, whenever he drives the cars on track, he says they're like too stiff. A lot of times he says that, and they've been this one they said is not as stiff just because they've kind of tuned it that way, because this is a street vehicle and not a track car. The exhaust is also not like the Spoon racing exhaust as well. It's the street one. So
Kind of like a Spoon Light.
The Spoon Light.
Yeah, Diet Spoon, you know, Coca-Cola Light or something.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he didn't go all out on this, huh? This is pretty much for the mature driver, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, it's still an EK9, but
right.
I think you know, when we were, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show, but we interviewed a shop from Japan, and this guy was telling us that like these EK9s are like too expensive for like kids to buy now. Yeah, you know, so you know, these are all like boy racer, like they're got guys that grew up now, you know, they're in their 40s and sometimes in their 50s, and they're going back and buying the cars that they, you know, grew up with, and the prices are just, you know, going up, and they don't even race these cars anymore because it's just too expensive. The parts are expensive, the cars itself are expensive, so they're buying newer cars to go out and race. You know, they're buying like Toyota 86s, and like, you know, the Roadsters are still around, but you know, they're buying newer cars to actually go racing. And so this is a street car. This is Spoon's demo car, but you know, you can buy all the parts. They're also doing like complete rebuilds, so you can send a car to Spoon and actually they'll build it for you, renovate everything, and give it back to you all like brand new.
Okay, cool. Kind of like the yeah, kind of being the singer of Hondas, you know.
Yeah, you know. Matt doesn't like the singer of so and so, you know, the term, but you know, they've been doing that forever, right? I mean,
who cares what Matt likes?
I just think they're going to be the Spoons of Hondas. That's what they're going to be.
The Spoon of Porsches.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's on GT Channel. Go check it out. It's on gtchannel.com. Everyone go visit.
Awesome. Okay, so that brings us to an end of podcast 37, guys. Another really good one, I thought, in the books. So
it was fun. Yeah.
Good
catching up with
Indy
Roger.
racing. Yeah, not
all
just
winners, no fillers. That's what we do.
Exactly. We cover everything here. Just not just drifting, not just, you know, road racing. Today a little bit of oval. So hopefully our listeners are well, we know our listeners are pretty well rounded too. So Okay, so guys,
All right.
James, No Braking Podcast. Everyone check it out.
Oh,
GT
also, I was
channel.
going to say, before I leave, we're going to be a special guest coming on the No Braking Podcast to talk all about the Dale. So you've been watching that
Oh.
HBO TV show, hopefully?
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
Oh, the
Have you-
Dale. Yes,
Yes,
yes. I
so
haven't
we're
seen it
gonna-
yet, but yeah, I got that's high on my list.
Yeah, we'll do that because he's going to be coming on the show next week. It'll be going up, have a special all about the Dale on the No Braking Podcast shortly.
Oh,
That
that's
would be
great.
awesome.
Great
Awesome.
idea,
We're looking for
yeah.
that. Okay, so everyone, if you watch it, HBO Max, big special on the Dale. What was it called? The Dale and the Pretty Woman or something like
The
that.
Lady and the Dale.
The
right?
Lady in the Dale.
Oh, Lady
Yeah.
in the Dale or something. Okay. And then James will have insights to that. When did you say that? Next week?
It should be the week after, so I'll be
The week
recording
after,
it
okay.
recording it next week, and we'll go on the week after.
Okay, look out for
Cool.
that. Always look out for great videos from Japan and everywhere from GT Channel and Tarokoki. And me, I'm just just waiting for responses
counting his
to my
money.
book,
Counting his money.
see, yeah.
That's it. Counting his money on the golf course, counting his money on the
Golf
boat,
course, yes. We play a lot of
counting
golf.
his money on his properties in Hawaii, counting his money wherever he goes. Sam, it just falls out of Sam's
I wish.
pockets.
Okay, so anyways, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Podspeed,
All right.
everybody. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.